Hello all and welcome to The Learning Curve, where we talk about autism, art, and economic development. And now introducing current events. We have a lot to cover for the past week, so let's get into it. Jumping into our autism news, we're about to embark on a fascinating journey into the world of neuroscience and its implications for disorders like autism and schizophrenia in children. A team of neuroscientists from the University of Maryland has made significant progress in understanding the development of these disorders, possibly paving the way for novel treatments. Previous research had hinted at a connection between inflammation in the brain during early childhood and autism and schizophrenia. However, the mechanisms underlying this link remained elusive. The Maryland researchers have now shed light on how brain inflammation can influence human brain cells and their development, offering a potential explanation for this association. To uncover these insights, the team conducted a post-mortem analysis of brain tissues from 17 children. 8 of these children had passed away due to conditions related to inflammation, while the other 9 had experienced accidents. Inflammation in the brain can result from various factors, such as encephalitis or severe asthma attacks. Even the use of anti-inflammatory drugs can induce inflammation, as noted by Seth Ament, an associate professor in psychiatry at Maryland's Medicine Institute of Neuroscience Discovery, and Margaret McCarthy, co-lead authors of the study. The cerebellum, a brain region responsible for movement, balance, motor learning, and speech, took center stage in their research. Babies born with cerebellar abnormalities are more likely to develop neurodevelopmental disorders. This focus on the cerebellum arose from its unique characteristics. It's one of the earliest brain regions to develop and one of the last to reach maturity, yet it remains relatively understudied. Upon examining the cerebellum cells, the researchers made intriguing discoveries. 2 specific types of brain cells, the Golgi neurons and the Purkinje neurons, were found to be especially vulnerable to brain inflammation. Purkinje neurons play a crucial role in forming synapses during development, connecting the cerebellum to other brain regions involved in cognition and emotional control. Golgi neurons, on the other hand, coordinate communication between cerebellar cells. Any disruption in these processes could potentially explain how inflammation contributes to conditions like autism, spectrum disorders, and schizophrenia. This study marks the first time these results have been observed in humans, validating prior animal-based research while revealing some unexpected outcomes, particularly regarding Golgi neurons. While this discovery opens promising avenues for potential treatments, it's worth noting that the precise impact of targeting inflammation on brain development still requires further exploration. In conclusion, the University of Maryland's groundbreaking research brings us closer to understanding the intricate relationship between early childhood brain inflammation and neurodevelopmental disorders. It paves the way for potential treatments and underlines the significance of continued exploration in this field. Next up, our news in art. Let's delve into the intriguing world of art and commerce. London, often seen as the art world's European capital, faced uncertainties a couple of years ago due to Brexit and stringent COVID-19 restrictions. Paris seemed poised to overtake it. However, as Frieze London marks its 20th edition, experts and dealers are reaffirming London's significance in the art market. Crucially, the nature of the art market transcends geographical boundaries. The primary art market is highly international, driven by collectors' interests. Access to this market is a privilege that requires building relationships with dealers and artists, often involving years-long waiting lists. Hence, where an exhibition takes place may not necessarily reflect the local market. Brexit and its associated regulations have posed challenges for well-established art businesses, raising operational costs considerably. However, London's art scene has also seen an infusion of vitality, particularly in neighborhoods like Bloomsbury. Newer galleries and enterprising dealers, adapted to the post-COVID, post-Brexit environment, have brought a sense of optimism to the city's art scene. In contrast, established galleries have struggled with the changing rules. The government's approach to the creative sector's challenges has raised concerns. Adjustments to tax policy have been recommended to alleviate the burden on small and medium enterprises. These changing conditions have prompted innovative solutions, such as opening spaces in other European cities, like Paris, to navigate the complexities introduced by the pandemic and Brexit. While Paris has seen an influx of exhibition spaces and a revival of its artistic energy, it hasn't significantly impacted London's market share. Despite Paris's allure, London remains a critical hub with a wealth of institutions, museums, and artists who have no intention of relocating. In fact, the UK market has rebounded with notable growth in revenue, including impressive auction sales. In summary, the art market's intricacies defy a simple comparison between cities. The international nature of art commerce, Brexit's impact, and the influx of newer galleries have reshaped London's art landscape. Despite Paris's resurgence, London maintains its standing as a global art powerhouse, navigating challenges and embracing the evolving dynamics of the art world. Next, jumping into the economy. We are witnessing an intriguing development in the world of finance, specifically regarding the Federal Reserve's stance on interest rates. The Fed, having increased interest rates to the highest level in 22 years, is now in a unique situation. Recent indications from top Fed officials suggest that they may be reevaluating their strategy. It appears that market dynamics have somewhat alleviated the need for the central bank to continue raising rates. In particular, the spike in interest rates on U.S. government debt has caught the Fed's attention, especially the yield on the 10-year Treasury bond, which significantly influences a wide range of borrowing costs and stock market valuations. Philip N. Jefferson, the Fed's vice chair, emphasized that market rates, along with incoming economic data, will guide their decision-making. The rising market rates have the potential to dampen consumer and business spending and depress stock prices. However, the Fed also wants to avoid over-tightening and unnecessarily harming the economy. This shift in perspective has caused investors to reevaluate their expectations for further rate hikes, reducing the chances of another rate increase this year. As the Fed has already raised its key interest rate significantly to curb inflation, it takes time for these changes to impact longer-term borrowing costs. The recent surge in long-term market rates is linked to the possibility of the Fed maintaining higher rates for an extended period. Also, strong economic growth and concerns about the nation's debt have played a role. While the Fed had previously projected another rate increase this year, recent statements by officials indicate a more cautious approach. They will closely monitor market developments and economic data in the coming months, signaling a potential pause in their rate tightening cycle. However, it's important to remember that market dynamics can be unpredictable, and their impact on Fed decisions can change. A robust economy might still keep the possibility of further rate hikes on the table, even if investors currently view it as less likely. Policymakers are also cautious about overreacting to short-term market fluctuations. In this ever-evolving economic landscape, the interactions between the central bank, market forces, and the broader economy are highly dynamic, and we should keep a close watch on how this situation unfolds. Now let's take a look at current events. Y'all, we're discussing a very complex and unfortunately grim situation. Israel's army is intensifying its conflict with Hamas in Gaza following a recent attack on Israeli border communities by Hamas militants. This attack left over 1,000 people dead and many more kidnapped, making it one of the deadliest incidents in Israel's history. Now, Israel is signaling its intention to end Hamas's rule in Gaza, a significant departure from previous incursions where Hamas remained in power. They're even considering a ground invasion, which could be prolonged and costly, with potential consequences for both sides. This is against the backdrop of an already dire humanitarian situation in Gaza, worsened by a long-standing blockade, and the toll on civilians has been immense. The international community is concerned, and the United States is involved in efforts to secure the release of hostages held by Hamas. But the situation is extremely complicated. Israel's political landscape has seen its share of turmoil, and the government is now taking a more hawkish approach. Meanwhile, Hamas seems to be seeking this conflict to hinder normalization with Israel regionally. While there are reports of grave atrocities from both sides, it's crucial to remember that many innocent lives are caught in this crossfire. The road to resolution is uncertain, and the consequences of this conflict are already severe. Let's hope for a peaceful resolution, but it's essential to remain aware of the complexities involved. For special interests, our focus this week is on the space shuttle. So NASA's retiring its space shuttles after 30 years of service, and there are some cool facts to know about them. The space shuttles could go really fast, like really fast. They can travel about 17,500 miles per hour. Combined, the shuttles traveled a distance equal to Earth to Jupiter 1.3 times. Only one president, Bill Clinton, watched a shuttle launch. Shuttles doubled as laboratories for science and physics experiments. They had a heat shield with 30,000 tiles. The heaviest orbiter, Columbia, weighed as much as 13 elephants. Shuttle missions were numbered weirdly due to NASA administrators' fear of the number 13. An astronaut tweeted from space for the first time in 2009. So the shuttles had an impressive run, and they're being replaced to send astronauts on deep space missions. Cool, right? Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Learning Curve. As we wrap up, we'd like to remind you that The Learning Curve is a product of Nephalaba Dance Theater, dedicated to pushing artistic boundaries and shedding light on unique perspectives. We hope this episode has left you inspired and moved, and we invite you to explore more of our thought-provoking work. Your support fuels our creative endeavors, and we look forward to sharing more compelling stories with you in the future. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest projects. We'll see you in the next one.